As you can see, the paint is not super happy. We got a lot of fade, especially front clip area here. We're gonna have to, that's gonna need new paint. I don't think I can bring that back, guys. Body work down here is pretty rough too. You can see the fog lights are broken. The little body parts that kind of connect the top and bottom sections of that lower valance are kind of busted up too, so I'm gonna have to figure something out there. Probably gonna remove the fog light housing, weight reduction, right? But we got a lot of work to do. There's some not so pretty stuff we gotta address. Got the OEM 14-inch wheels, desperate need of being restored. Tires, Tiger Paw Uniroyals that are just ancient. I don't even know if I have a date code on these ones. I'd be willing to say at least 10, 15 years, maybe more, older. Those are coming off, we got a plan for that. Pretty straight down the body here, not too dinged up, nothing dramatic. Some little stuff here and there. Trim definitely needs a restoration. Up here, the paint is also destroyed. We have T-tops, which was actually an option, and though it is a weight penalty, kind of a strike against performance, I think it's worth it for the cool factor. Everything's looking pretty good here. Same up here, lots of sun damage. Not too happy about that. The rear spoiler is almost completely back to black. The trunk deck, we're gonna have to be painting all of this. There's no way you can bring this kind of quality back to life. It's just beyond gone. Yeah, it's gonna need a lot. It's gonna need a lot to take it back, but overall, not a bad place to start. Let's check out this interior. Jumping into the interior of our NX2000. What really got me was how original it was in here. A lot of these cars were modified and trashed, and you can see the original seats are still here in pretty good shape. Bolsters down there, a little bit of wear on the fabric, no tears or anything. Back seats also in pretty dang good condition. Come up here, you've got your T-top covers. Everything looks pretty good in here for the most part. Steering wheel's a bit funky, kind of doing that dry rot thing these old vinyl rubber wheels love to do, but it is the original wheel. Shifter, boot here is getting replaced, that's just gone, but everything's pretty original in here, and I kind of like that. Door cards are holding together well. Dash has one teeny crack right there, and that's it, so that's pretty good. These did like to crack, same as the Sentra SERs, or the B13 Sentras in general. Door card on driver's side also equally good. Aftermarket cruise control, kind of interesting, and I'll show you that under the hood where that is. We're gonna take that out, of course, but overall, looking pretty good in here, guys. This whole thing on this custom-made bracket is the cruise control, and you can see the cable coming off of it and going around the whole engine bay here. I believe it's right here is the cruise control cable, this back one. So we'll be pulling all that out of the vehicle. No need to keep that in here, that's extra weight. I'm not gonna use cruise control in the vehicle, but it's kind of cool aftermarket cruise control solution. We'll be doing the usual suspect stuff under here too, guys. Obviously valve cover gasket, spark plugs and wires, all that kind of good stuff, and making sure this thing's running tip top. Because I plan to drive this thing spiritedly, and I think we're gonna do some modifications too. I don't think I'm gonna keep this thing stocky, at least in handling to start off with. We're gonna do some handling mods. I put a light in position so we can see, but this is the first time I've been under this car in the past 4.5 years that I've owned it. So we're going together, guys, and this is where you really exploit the weaknesses of a car's overall health. So let's see what the underside looks like on our NX2000. Okay. Yeah, we've got some oil action on the trans side here. Oh yeah, that's good. Oil pan also looking pretty slick. Good amount of oil coming down that too, so. Okay, well, first things we gotta address. Now that valve cover is absolutely pouring up top, so we're gonna start there. I'm gonna poke around, see if we got anything else going on here. That's a good amount of old crusty stuff on the trans there, so. Yeah, we're doing a deep cleaning under here. Right off the rip, pretty good. Not a lot of corrosion under here for a vehicle that isn't just a California car. This was in Tennessee, was also in Indiana, so really interesting. I do see some suspension issues, so if we zoom over here, the axle boot looks good, but if you come down from that, you can see that is the ball joint on the lower control arm, and that is looking not too happy right there, guys. So we're gonna go ahead and replace that, and instead of just pressing that out, that control arm does have a little bit of crust on it, and those other bushings are probably just as worn, so I think it's time to replace the control arm. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that just to be safe. So we'll replace the control arm over there. Driver's side, how we looking? Yeah, that ball joint is split, so let's do both control arms. Yeah, those look pretty crusty, pretty worn. Probably a little more. Since we're doing some suspension upgrades, we might as well make these look nice too. So we'll get new end links for the front sway bars. A lot of suspension work to do, a lot of oil leaks to fix. So we are doing both control arms, outer tie rods, and sway bar end leaks. We're gonna also take care of these oil leaks. Under here we'll do trans fluid, oil change. And I got a surprise for you guys. Let's go look at the suspension. Surprise, surprise, these are old crusty shocks and springs, but I want this thing to handle. So I ordered up a set of coilovers to go on the car with, and why I went with that brand. So that's gonna help us with the overall handling of the car. It's gonna lower it just a little bit, make it a little, you know, closer to the ground, lower center of gravity, a little more handling prowess, because these shocks are pretty blown. Full brake job coming up, guys. So, as you can see here, let me put you in closer to this action. A lot of scoring on the rotor. Oh yeah, you can feel these lines. If you drag your fingernail through your glove, pad is extremely low, probably like 10%. It is like basically down to the metal backing. Actually surprised I didn't hear the screeching going on. New rotors, pads, and fluid coming up for our braking system on our NX. That outer tie rod, and you wonder why I'm replacing it, that appears to be duct tape. Okay. Yep. That is duct tape. Wrapped around a destroyed outer tie rod. Why do people do things like that? And here's an up close look at our Tiger Paws by Uniroyal. You can see some dry rot starting to occur right here near the wheel itself. This is probably an early 2000s tire is what I'd guess. This thing's completely worn down. It's still got a little tread on it, but it is dry rotted and it just looks pretty rough. My God, come on, valve cover. Making this a challenge for me today. Oh my God, look at the old gasket just sticking to it. Yep, you could just stay there. Hopefully the gasket stays on and hopefully everything lines up. So we'll drop in some new NGK spark plugs. And of course, we're gonna get the matching wire kit. So we'll install these right now. Get this SR20 really humming along. So install our new plug wire kit to go with those fresh spark plugs. Choking up my SR20. Oh yeah, really dirty. Lots of debris and dust in there, so let's go ahead, slap a new air filter in there after we vacuum. You can see our shiny new fuel filter installed down there. It wasn't too bad of a job. Old filter, looking pretty rough, still dripping some absolutely nasty fuel out, but glad to get that out of there. It certainly did it for mine. I'm so happy. I can't believe how loose that was. I don't know if that just came loose over time or whatnot, but that was creating that huge dead space followed by just absolutely, and I'm betting it's all the rust and corrosion, that clutch pedal feeling like I was pushing it through like thick concrete. Now, smooth as butter. I can modulate that clutch, which you need to do in first gear, you know, when you're crawling in traffic, or reverse. So, heck yeah, dude, awesome. All right, guys, glad I could share that with you, but pretty simple, straightforward there. Now to put all this fun stuff back in. And there's that aftermarket cruise control removed from the NX2000. Replacing the transmission fluid on this NX2000 is pretty straightforward. Have at least 4 quarts of MT90 transmission fluid. Have a 3/8 inch ratchet with a little extension and a 1/2 inch ratchet with a little extension. Those are gonna take out the fill and drain plugs respectively. And that's all you need. We're getting a pretty consistent drizzle or dripping out as if the trans is full. We're a little more than halfway through our 4th quart, which lines up with what the service manual says. The service manual states 3.7 quarts or so of fluid to totally fill the trans, and that's about where we are. So as soon as I get that fluid to consistently pour out of there, I'm gonna go ahead and throw that fill bolt back in. Time to add some fresh oil to our SR20. All right, let's get these motor mounts off. Everything is a 14mm bolt. I love you, Nissan. Let's put our new rotor on here. You can finally get the control arm out, and this is what she looks like. This is that sandwich piece. It's like a rubber, big rubber bushing that goes in there. Here's where the long bolt passes through. Then of course you have your ball joint. What do you guys think of this ball joint? Yeah, I'd say it's about time to replace it. So let's just see if we can knock it loose. Oh, yeah, be careful if you're looking up. You're gonna get a lot of dirt and stuff on an older car. You definitely don't want that in your eyes. There we go. As promised, old strut coming out. God, it looks original. Wow, look at all this crust on top. Let's just take in all the new shiny bits we have installed. We got our new coilovers there. Those are looking real good right here in front of us. Outer tie rod, looking nice and shiny. Down below you can see that new sway bar end link. Below that you can see the brand new control arm we installed. Everything's looking real good, real nice and shiny. A lot of new componentry under here. Definitely need a big alignment. Get everything dialed in as we like it. And yeah, of course it looks pretty hideous right now. It's like basically I just put a highlighter on that crack, but it'll dry. We'll paint match it, guys. It'll come out okay. But this should hold together pretty good. Looks pretty nice. Let's see if it fits and if the shifter throws are good and don't rip up my new leather boot. So let's install it in the car. And we'll let that charcoal gray dry and it should look pretty good. Fog light housing should be nice and loose now. Just gotta wiggle it out of here. As you can see, I broke that plastic piece to match the other side. There it is. That's what it looks like removed, driver's side removed. Now to set about making this kind of look pretty. All right, with our primer dry, it's time to throw down some TJ4's color match to the car. This is electric blue in Nissan lingo. So we'll put it on light at first, then we'll finish with some more heavier coats, aiming for probably 4 total coats, but that first one's gonna be pretty light. Kinda totally repainting the front clip of the car. We gotta sand all this down. You can see some pretty good damage here. So I think we are just gonna use some regular engine degreaser, guys. Get in there, scrub pretty hard, maybe get some scrub brushes out, some brass brushes, if you will, to hit some of these baked on brake dust areas and clean that up. Now, obviously, we cannot do anything about this curb rash here without taking a Dremel to it, grinding it down,